Let's take a look at how to modify your data so that you can import multiple groups or categories into NewPanda during the import process. I have a sample Excel data file open here with a column for groups, and you will see that in this case, the groups are at least all in one field. If your groups are in multiple fields or columns, the first thing that you'll want to do is concatenate the data in some way to get all the groups into one field. The next thing that you'll need to do is you will need to ensure that each group is separated or delimited by a semicolon and no spaces. So like many people, this person has created groups and used different methods of delimiting the data. In some cases, they use a comma in between the records, in some cases, a hyphen, and in some cases, even a semicolon or a slash or backslash. So NewPanda will not understand what to do with all these different kinds of delimiters. So you will need to delimit your data, again, by simply a semicolon and no spaces. Now, the quickest way to handle that would be in Excel to use the find and replace function. You can select your group's column, and using the find and replace, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a comma and a space, and I'm going to replace it with simply a semicolon and no space. And I'm going to choose replace all. All right, and then it's going to tell me how many records it found and that it has replaced that data. So now looking through my groups, I see that at least the ones that were separated by a comma and a space seem to be okay. Now, it's also possible that you may have separated your data by a comma with no space. So again, you're simply going to go through and look for any matching records like that. In my case, I didn't have any, okay? So then the next delimiter that I see here is a space hyphen space. So now I'm going to search for space hyphen space, and I'm going to replace with only a semicolon, and I'm going to say select all. And then moving down my list, I'm going to look for every single kind of delimiter that I have, and I'm going to replace it with simply a semicolon. My next one is a space slash space. So I'm going to do space slash space, and I'm going to replace all. And this might take a little bit of work and attention to detail, but you will definitely reap rewards in the end. Okay, so it looks like in this case I have now got my data delimited by a semicolon only with no spaces for each of my groups. Then you can move on to the next step, which would be to save your Excel file or whatever format that you're working with as a comma separated value file. We want to save our changes, and then to do that you would do File, Save As, and choose comma delimited. Obviously, make sure that you know where you're saving your data file and that you name your data file appropriately. In Excel, you'll get several warnings if you're saving as a comma separated. The first one letting you know that if you have data on multiple sheets within your Excel workbook, that CSV does not support that. If that is the case for you, you will simply want to save each individual tab or worksheet as a separate comma separated value file. The next notification will let you know that if you've done any formatting of your Excel file, such as using colors in your cells or any font formatting such as bold or text color, that will not be supported in comma separated value as well, and you can simply accept that. And that is how you get your multiple groups into import shape for NewPanda.